Hello and welcome to another installment of From Russia with Minecraft. So today on this particular occasion I'm going to be discussing the original compound that I built when I was still freshly spawned on the server. So I started off on this hilltop and I moved to the nearest flatland, which was just slightly to the north right here. I started building this compound from the ground up with this greenhouse to begin with, and inside I planted a wheat farm. So the original design for the compound involved no ground level entrances. Now, while you can keep monsters away, I found it easier not to have ground level entrances for this particular compound because zombies at certain difficulty levels actually can break down doors, and then both they and other more devastating monsters like the creeper can penetrate your buildings. So after I built the greenhouse and the farm, I actually built this small module right here. What you see, this level right here, and then everything above it and behind it, didn't exist at first. At first, it was just the greenhouse, and then this middle level right here. I had sleeping quarters, a couple of chests for my various blocks that I collected, and that was it. And then this stairway up and down. As time went by, I had a couple of friends join me, and I dug out this mine shaft. The area below is just a simple underground cavern complex, which I dug stairways in to go deeper and deeper, and to gather rarer and more exotic blocks like iron, gold, diamonds, and such. In general, the deeper you go, the more valuable blocks you'll find because stuff like gold doesn't spawn above a certain level, and then diamonds don't spawn above, I want to say, level 17. So you have to go 40 meters underground, 50 meters underground before you can hit diamonds. So what did I build here? This bottom floor was originally a kitchen, so pretty much all my foodstuffs went here. I had various double chests just filled with fruits, veggies, wheat, bread, meat, and eggs. I had a few furnaces to cook the meat in, and this is pretty much where all of us came down to get food and eat. This was originally my room. I actually still have a few chests, but they're currently empty. A few of them have some residual items that I haven't used in a while. But for the most part, there's nothing of interest here. There's an area map that I haven't updated in some time. And there is an ender chest. The ender chest is actually an interesting item. It serves, if anyone's ever played World of Warcraft, it serves much the same purpose as the bank. You can access all your items from, like all your items are in a shared inventory inside this chest. If you access another nether chest in another location, like for example I have another nether chest in, I'm sorry, ender chest, uh, in my Skycrown module, if I access it from there, I can get the same stuff from a different place without having to run back here every time I need to get my main items. This is a room that belongs to one of my friends that played with us originally, and then upstairs this was a sugarcane farm which I've since dismantled. There is a neighboring building which I built for a couple of other friends that played with us, also who no longer play or who haven't played in a while. And then the bottom level here was an armory. This is where I kept and still actually have a fair bit of my equipment, but these are all like stone pickaxes, stone hoes, fishing rods. These are all items that I haven't used in a while. Uh, Golden swords that were dropped by zombie pigmen in the nether. The nether is a different dimension you can go to, which I will showcase in a future video. Pretty much all that gear is not particularly useful given the equipment that I have now, but I'm not a big fan of throwing things away, so I just kept it. This was a secondary wheat farm just to supplement the yield of the first one, because as my operation grew, I needed to move around more and I needed more food to sustain myself and my friends. So moving out here to the courtyard, I built these two towers. This one served as a big supplement for my farming areas, because this and the level above it were both wheat farms. Once again, just to supplement the ones that I already had in my buildings. And then the very top level was another sugarcane farm. And once again, I used the sugarcane to make sugar, and then I used that in conjunction with wheat and pumpkins to make pumpkin pies, which are a very efficient food item. I believe it restores 4 units of food on your hunger bar. Then up here, I actually neglected to mention, up here I had pumpkin farm, still do, but I haven't harvested them in a while. So next item on the list is this right here. I have a small version of the livestock tower. The full livestock tower I've got in the village is 7 levels with 4 enclosures per level. This one is a much smaller version. It's 3 levels with just a single enclosure per level. Bottom one was for cows, the middle one was for pigs, and then the top one was for chickens. Each of these animals can be farmed primarily for their meat, but cows and chickens are also farmed for leather and feathers respectively. And then chickens also lay eggs, which can be used as ingredients in other recipes. So at this point I've evacuated all of them. Originally I transported as many as I could from one area to the next. You only really need 2 to start spawning them, but I think I tried to get 6 from each enclosure, and then the rest of them I just slew and then harvested their drops. And then the final feature of this small compound is the palisade. The palisade is made of just wood blocks. Uh, the one of the techniques that I use relatively early on to wall myself off is I I harvest trees in order to get building materials. So like you'll notice that pretty much all the structures here are built out of wood. Wood is one of the most efficient building materials. It is flammable and it's not particularly blast resistant. However, it's still fairly sturdy, and most importantly, it's very easy to harvest. And when you harvest wood, what happens to the tree is the leaf blocks will eventually decay over a relatively short period of time, and each leaf block has a chance of dropping a sapling. The saplings can be planted and in time grow into trees in their own right. So wood, in addition to being readily available, is also a renewable resource. So what I did originally, and you'll still see remnants of that, is I planted trees in a line, and then as the trees grew, they formed this palisade. Now, of course, once the palisade was fully grown, I had to go in, I had to trim stray branches. Most trees grow just a single trunk and then leaves around it, but some trees branch out, they grow very tall, very messy. So I had to clean those up and then clean up most of the leaves. You may find that this is probably one of the more efficient wall building techniques. The other one being just taking these wood blocks and then transforming them into wooden planks. One wood block yields 4 wooden planks. So uh, you this is not it's not a terribly efficient use of the resource. However, because it doesn't require that you lay each block yourself, it's also not as time consuming as laying out a palisade or a wall from wooden planks. So this pretty much concludes my walkthrough of the initial compound, and next up I will be doing a brief history and walkthrough of the village. That video should run a bit longer than this one did, quite simply because there are more features and a bit more history to discuss. That said, thank you for listening, and I will see you all in the next video, and you all have a good one.